ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start the discussion about opening innovations in higher education institutions, how to involve students in improving HEI. Williams is going to be the moderator of today's discussion. So yeah, please.
Yes, thank you so much. With me here today, or close to this evening, we have the Associated Professor and the Rector of BA School of Business and Finance, Līga Peiseniece. We also have a third-year student in the same university, the BA School of Business and Finance, and a chairwoman of the Students' Self-Government, Eva Ūbele. And we also have joining today the chairperson of EdTech Estonia, Märt Aro. A beautiful panel. Glad to have you all here. Three of us are somewhere else, not present, but I'm completely certain that Eva will bring all this energy present there with you. And the main question of the day, at least in this discussion, is how to involve students in improving higher education institutions. And well, the approach to this is quite obvious in, I would say, in two ways. Number one, it's through student associations, which would in their voice the opinion of students. And the second option would be through university being proactive and gathering different feedbacks and creating different events for the students. And let's see how both of these can be improved. Where are they now? And what's the situation with them also in terms of education technology? So I would like to ask the first question to Eva to sort of put the ground for where we're at now, at least in one school with their student association. Could you please tell me about how many people are in the student association and what's sort of the involvement regarding student association and the events that you're organizing?
Thank you. Our student association have 15 board members. They work in different fields. We have 5 structural places where they can work. And then we have our activists, we call them that. They are first-year students mostly, or older student council members that help us with organization and making things happen. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
The other question is basically what are the events and what is the reach for the events that you guys are creating? Like how many people are you touching with your events, so to speak?
We organize different kind of events. It's mostly little parties and also first-year student orientations. We reach not all of the university, but most of the bachelor's study program students, and mostly those students who are in day programs that study during the day. Okay,
so because one of the sort of, I don't know, lingering rumors around Latvian higher education systems is that a lot of times this student association is almost like their own bubble that doesn't necessarily reach throughout different students. Märt, maybe you could speak a little bit more about the situation in Estonia. Like, is it similar, or are the student associations there a bit more active?
Well, that's the common issue that we hear about the student associations, that they are not really taking part that actively in university politics and more taking care of what is let's say the leisure time things. And I would really welcome students to take a stronger hand in trying to improve, look at how can we improve the quality of learning experience in the university, for example, and maybe also propose solutions. I'm just kind of looking back at my student times. So we started actually our first initiatives in student conferences. Yeah, so the first thing that we did together was actually an investment kind of simulator. And we started with 3 guys. One was in 11th grade, one is 12th grade, and I was in the first year of university. So, so it is possible to start very early with contributing to improving some kind of content, let's say. And with the same team, we have now also set up Dream Apply system, which is what we launched in 2011. And now it's being implemented by more than 300 universities across the world. So so if universities are kind of welcoming and finding these pathways for allowing students to contribute in the innovation of the university or improving the universities, it is absolutely possible that very valuable services are going to be developed here in the Baltics, and we can all benefit from this. And actually, Latvia University is taking has implemented Dream Apply and serves international students that are coming into the studies. So and what we're trying to do also on the kind of association level is informing students and also other stakeholders who are interested in kind of contributing to increasing the quality of learning experience, for example, or the quality of content or quality of methodology of learning. We try to inform them of 2 principles. First principle being that it's okay to start from innovating kind of in one classroom, trying to make something better about learning in for one group of students or for one university. It's totally okay. But what you should straight away keep in your neck or in the back of your neck is how can we make it this way that if we are successful with the prototype of how to make something better, that other universities or other students in other countries could also implement this for making their lives better or improving their learning. And the other principle is, so this is the first principle we call scalability of innovation. And the second principle is sustainability. So a lot of students and also other people start with big enthusiasm that they have a really great idea of how to make something better about education. And for example, in Estonia, we organize an education hack at the moment, which is actually taking place next week, where everybody's welcome. We also distributed information in Latvia and Lithuania, for example. And we have quite a few, actually, Latvians and Lithuanians joining. Happy to share the link if somebody else is interested. So the second principle is it's fine to start just based on enthusiasm and just to try to make something better. But again, have this thought in the back of the neck that, hey, if we're going to make a successful prototype here, how can we theoretically make this into our work? And at least earn enough money that we could pay fair salaries to the team members that we need to maintain this service and develop it further. So this is exactly the principle that we were using when we started Dream Apply. And the reason why to follow these principles is very simple. I believe most young people that are at the moment in universities, they would like to have an impact in making something better about the society that we live in, or something better about learning, or something better about our university. So this is a massive resource, and we need to enable this resource to actually come and contribute to making the things better. So I mean, as you can see, it's very dangerous to start discussing education development with me because I have a lot to say. So I'll be happy to give the word also to others.
I don't, maybe dangerous is not the right word I had in mind, but thank you so much for shining light on this. And sustainability, as you mentioned, I think is one of the key factors here. And with that, I would like to ask Līga, knowing that you're associate professor and you've been in your university for quite some time, could you shine light a little bit on what has been sort of the projects that has grown out and that you know still exist that started from the Students Association?
Yes, thank you so much for the possibility to be here and to share our experience. This is, I would like to stress that this is our experience. It's not possible to say about all universities in Latvia or in Baltic countries, but you asked about the project and we have very good case. We started, I said, because our student council and also our school, we started together to organize 13 years ago this competition for secondary school education students, business 24 hours. And this is a completely organized event for participants. And the organizers in last year, in 2021, 700 participants participated in this event, and Eva and her council friends or mates, they were in this team, around 20 members of council organize this event where participants worked with case of TED, how to develop new products for use. This was the one. Then the second one round was for participants to promote products of different companies. And for participants, it was very challenging because they asked companies, is it possible? And they did it very well. They used digital marketing tools and they promoted, and I'm really proud that this project was also awarded in this 2021 from European Commission as event which promote entrepreneurial spirit. And I can say this is a great example where we can see that the students, they can do a lot, and we need to use this resource, not just use, but to give them floor to develop their skills and also involve students. And I completely agree with Eva that it's in nowadays we see that the bachelor students, undergraduate students, they are more active in this school, in life of universities, but we can also reach master students and doctoral students by surveys. And in these days, we also finished the survey where we asked students to say their evaluation about hybrid studies in our school, and they were so active. They wrote different suggestions, and now we need to introduce them. We need to analyze before, and we need to introduce. And I see that we need to find the different ways how to involve them, how to attract their interest. And I completely agree that it's possible, and we need to do, because our students today, they are active, but after next years, they will be also active politicians, active leaders, and this time in university is very special them to develop leadership skills, and we need to do this. Is our task. Yeah.
And thank you so much for touching on the subject of different feedbacks and surveys and such. How often do you see, and probably this is a question to Eva, knowing that you're still a student, how often do you get surveys, and how enthusiastic are you about giving them or answering them?
We get surveys, I would say, at least once a month. We have surveys about every course after it ends, and the study process, if if we feel good while studying. And we are fine. We're not very enthusiastic about surveys, but we do them because they're not very hard. They are short, and we know that it's for the better good. I think that's why most of us, my course mates, fill the surveys, because it doesn't really take much of our time, and we know it will help us in the study process, and I think it's very important. We also, as a student council, make some surveys now and then about different topics we need to know, because students' opinion is very important.
Right. I agree. And so once the survey is made and once the opinion has been gathered, the other big thing is what to do with it and how to incorporate it into students' life and in university's life with that. So how active are the changes, and are there changes that are visible through these surveys, Eva?
Can you repeat the question, please?
How actively do you see changes based on the surveys? Like how often or how big are the changes, or if there are noticeable because of the surveys?
Usually, if there's a bigger problem and we address it in the survey, the problem is addressed by the school very fast, and the school is always working on fixing it if there's something to solve. And I haven't noticed that there wouldn't be a change made. So it's in a positive sense, they do everything good in time.
So maybe let me address this further to Märt. Knowing that you work a lot with EdTech, and sort of, I'm guessing data as well in that matter. So how would you say the different surveys or different feedback and its incorporation into students' life or into university's life has advanced and changed over the past, let's say, years?
Well, I would say this way, that I don't have a very detailed overview about how the universities surveys about students are being implemented to develop the universities. But I believe Līga was giving a pretty, sorry, I don't see our, yeah, Eva. Was giving a pretty good overview of the directiveness of university, which is great. But EdTech solutions, of course, collect a lot of data about the learners, and there is you could use this data much more than it is used today in reality. And so the questions here are somewhat also policy related. So do we want to, as universities, kind of get access to the data that is collected about how our students are learning? Then we have questions about legislation as well. For example, are we only allowed to use personalized, non-personalized data, or can we use also, in some cases, personalized data? So we could, for example, if you look at apps that are helping with psychology or psychological questions, then or student well-being questions, then these apps collect very good information regarding what students are in trouble and would benefit from having additional assistance. For example, because of mental challenges or some other challenges. But for example, according to Estonian law, you are not allowed to share. The app developer is not allowed to share this data with anybody because it's personal, very, very restricted data. Mm. But if I'm kind of turning this around a little bit, then universities do a lot of very interesting research projects, science projects. And some of these projects are, of course, about students, but they could be from many areas that could be applicable in the real world. For example, in psychology, we have already, I don't know, 100 years ago figured out how motivation for learning, for example, is created and how it's dissolved. And if we look in practice, then this kind of knowledge is not really implemented. So what I'm wanting to say is that the universities do really great research, and they own a lot of very valuable knowledge, but it's kind of stuck in the ivory towers of the university. And there are several reasons for this. I'm not going into details with that at the moment, but how the students could be involved is, in my opinion, that students could set up kind of spin-off programs. So the students would be invited to work together with the researchers, and if there is some kind of interesting finding that could benefit other learners or I don't know, the world in general, then the students would be enabled to take this knowledge and build like corporations or NGOs that would be taking this outside of the university and trying to implement it in the wider world. So I hope this gives a kind of different perspective here. And but yeah, regarding the policy discussions, I think I urge students really, if you see something being not really reasonable or not working the way that would provide the most value for you as a learner, like be active about it. I mean, try to find the people in the university who care and would like to help to make it like the situation better. Sometimes it can be hard in the beginning. There are some people also working in universities who don't want to hear about improvement possibilities, and it doesn't make sense then to try to kind of sell them the idea that, hey, we need to really make this better here. But at the same time, there are also very many really great people working in universities who actually do care about students' opinion and want to help or let's say incorporate this feedback from the students to make the universities better.
Right, and that I guess is sort of the almost stereotypical Baltic person who will rather sit through and be like, okay, so I'm not going to go there and change stuff. I'm going to just rather live with what we have. And I guess it's really difficult to change that. So Līga, do you have often, do students often approach you or other members of the school administration and voice their opinions on how to change things?
Yes, I can say that we have always open doors, and I have reached by different ways, by emails, by also phone calls, and for us, it's not so difficult to reach us because our school is not so big, and we can also tell about what we have implemented, and this also shows students that they can change. Yeah, they can change, and of course it's necessary to take account also in other aspects. If you have 1,000 different students, around 100. Sorry. Mm-hmm.
Is it one of the students voicing their opinion? Out of nowhere?
Could be.
Okay. Well, hopefully it is a start to a beautiful dialogue. Okay, Līga is back.
Sorry, I lost my voice.
It's all good. It's all good. Please continue.
Sorry, yeah, I just wanted to say that it's not so easy.
I guess there is like 100 academic staff in the university or staff members, and you cannot react to all students' wishes very easily because there is a lot more students. So maybe we should make a joke out of this that if you have 2 students, you have 3 opinions.
Yeah, that would very much be the case, so it seems. But I mean, I guess it's better to have 2 students with 3 opinions than having 3 students with 0 opinions. So, so that's at least something. But yeah, Līga, if you're back, please continue with what you were saying. Okay, there seems to be a little bit of issue still. Is it a connection issue?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, maybe we can go forward into talking about what is the topic, I would say, about education and higher education in general over the last 1.5 years due to pandemic, which is the distance learning, or in some cases hybrid learning, where you would have some classes in person and some classes in through Zoom or other similar platforms. Eva, how has been the time for you, and knowing that you're in a student association, how has been the time for you and your fellow university friends?
At first, as a student, I can say that we were low-key happy that we went online about online studying, because what can be more comfortable than staying at home and listening to your lectures. But as the time went, it came harder because the lack of socializing made us feel worn out, and I felt that in my course and also in student council that many of us are starting to burn out. For student council, in representing our students' interests, it wasn't really that hard to go online because everything, all the decision-making institutions, the meetings were online, but later, that all. And but organizing the events were a bit harder in attracting our students. We even had a mental health month in April, this April, to help our students help themselves with their mental health and take a breath out of their computer, because it was really straining. I know that the mental health was a big subject in all of the universities, and ours was not an exception.
Right, and I think it's been not only for students, for everybody working. It's been tough on everybody, and with the Zoom platforms and similar as such, what is almost the future of that in terms of technology and in terms of keeping this, like, is this a sustainable way to approach education from the ways of technology, and is there a way we could implement it? We could implement the experience so it would be more sort of humanitarian. Märt.
So of course I've got a lot of opinions on this topic, and been looking very actively what's going on, and I really hope that universities are going to try to take this situation as a really great opportunity, because I'll give a few examples so it would be a bit more practical. So thanks to technology, we can massively personalize the learning and keep the learning on the students' level. If just for fun, bringing in flow theory. So it's a theory from the 70s already, actually, and it says that a person is the best developing if they are at about 85% knowledge level when they are doing something. And this includes learning something. And the reason is that if you are close to 100% of knowledge level, you're going to lose motivation pretty quickly, because you will feel that, hey, there is no interesting challenges here for me. I really waste my time in this session at the moment because I know everything what you're talking about already, and this is not a useful way to spend students' time. Or like, as a respectful person towards yourself, you wouldn't want to stay in this situation for a long time. The other side of the coin is that if you are more than 20% uninformed of what you're looking at or what you're working with, then you also have a big risk of losing motivation. And the feeling what the learners are having is that, hey, I can't really understand this. I can't really get this. It's too hard. So it's kind of starting to demotivate the learner because they get rather frustrated instead of having really this excitement about, hey, I found out something new. And this 85% knowledge level corridor is pretty narrow, but with the help of technology, we can pretty easily pinpoint the level of the learners. Actually, computer games developers are taking advantage of this very actively, this knowledge. So, now the question is, if we want to improve the learning experience massively and keep the learners in this flow corridor, I mean, everybody of us has had this experience, I believe, once in a while in life, that you kind of overcome a challenge and you feel this rush, like, hey, I got this, like it was, and this kind of positive energy, which we call flow. So technology can help us there, and there is quite a few actually new innovations in education that are taking advantage of this theory, and also other psychology theories. For example, reinforcement theory is a really great another one to bring as an example. But if we look what happened in education during the pandemic was that a lot of schools and universities just switched to do the same thing online that they did in the classroom, which in most cases is not very useful thing to do, because the methodology that is working more or less in the classroom, even if it's like poorly working, then if you bring this to an online context, it probably behaves totally differently. And like in the classroom setting, like, let's not go even there. So I'll bring a practical example again. I've looked at most successful universities that have been looking at distance learning. And for example, of course, Harvard University is always easy to talk about. So they had the program called, or course called, Computer Science Basics, or CS50. And in the early this year, I actually checked how they're doing. So they've been experimenting with distance learning for about 30 years now. And they have a 5-people team that is developing the course. And so they're all the time looking for better ways of, or better methodologies how to teach somebody online. And now they are stating on their website that actually you get a better experience when you join us from distance, because we have so good methodologies for distance learning. And this spring they had 2.6 million people globally registered for the course. And so from this angle, it could be really an opportunity for universities to see how they could take advantage of this new reality. And what I'm thinking also is, if universities are not going to take advantage of this new opportunities, they might find themselves becoming irrelevant one day. And this day might not be that far away from us. And I really hope that universities in the Baltics will find new business models and new ways of doing things. And let's also add on top of this cake that why aren't maybe some universities, especially state-funded universities, it's not good actually to separate. Both have the same challenges. So why people aren't kind of looking very actively on how to use technology is that you need to innovate business models at the same time. So how exactly are we going to pay for these staff members that are going to do the course online for, I don't know, 10,000 students, rather than having an intimate classroom of 15 students that is barely paying off the salaries for the lecturers. So you see, it's not only about technological innovation, it's also about inventing new ways of working for the universities. I'll shut up here again.
No, but thank you so much for shining light on everything that you did. And we're unfortunately running out of the time. But to sort of sum it up, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but to sort of translate in a way what Märt said about the 85% and staying on those 85%. So is it better to go small but brave steps constantly forward rather than taking huge leaps every now and then? So if I'm not mistaken, that is what you mentioned, right?
Sorry, I wasn't really able to hear what you're saying.
Okay, so basically smaller but brave steps, right? That is.
I think there is no kind of clear answer to this. So.
Okay, but we're unfortunately running out of time.
Out of time, yes. So,
we don't have the answers to everything, yes, but thank you so much for tuning in. It's been nice having you here, and have a wonderful rest of the day. See you.
Thank you for Thank you for all the speakers. But before we end this panel discussion, I cannot skip this one question from Lily Spot on. She wants to ask, maybe you can decide who would want to answer, how students can be involved in developing university strategies, and if it's actually possible.
Perhaps Līga could take this.
Yeah, I would like to answer on this question because in this year we had such a possibility to involve students, and this was the first time when, especially in this pandemic time, when we up-to-date our strategy, and it worked very good because in 8 teams, representatives from student council, they represented also student needs, and they also suggested so great ideas. And yeah, I think that it's necessary to continue not only about updating a strategy, but also finding new business models, finding the ways how to offer our products globally. And I see big opportunity to involve students, but I would like to say that, of course, it's necessary to prepare the team to accept that our students, they are our members, they are of our family. They have great ideas. Maybe they don't have so big experience, yeah, but they come with fresh ideas, and we need also to think about and to see how they behave, how they also think, and this is a good food for our thinking. And I see that it must be in every university, but of course for big universities it's necessary to find the way how to realize.
Thank you so much for this answer, and thank you for this panel discussion.